Hi guys, my name is Eva and welcome to a recent reads. Let's just get started because recent reads always take forever. I don't know what I'm doing. The very first one is Instant Karma by Marissa Meyer. I really wanted to read this one last year. I love Marissa Meyer's writing. I love the Cinder series. I love the Renegade series. This was a huge takeoff from that, okay? It was more of a YA contemporary with a tiny bit of fantasy thrown in. And in the end, I don't know why there was any fantasy. If I had read this by another author, I would have thought this was a really cute YA contemporary. But knowing what she's capable of and what Marissa Meyer usually writes, I didn't enjoy it because of who the author is as much. I still think I gave this 4 stars for what it was. I was him-hawing. It's like a high 3 and a low 4. You know what I mean? I didn't love it by any means, but I really, really enjoyed it and liked it still. It was really good for a YA contemporary novel, but it wasn't like really like the love I usually get from a Marissa Meyer story. Okay, so this story is about a girl and a guy who are working on a project, and the guy is like just like, she thinks he's not like there helping her all the time with this project, and they kind of butt heads a lot, and the girl is a perfectionist, and they're working on the C project and she wants to redo the project, so she goes in to work with him and, you know, learns everything that is actual about him and what he does at this C place. She also gains this, well, it's like a place where they rescue injured ocean animals. So she also gains the strength of karma in the middle of the book, where she can give karma to people. But I really don't get the point of it. In the end, the story is mostly about the girl and the boy. I don't get the point of the instant karma. Prudence comes off, though, the main girl, who's supposed to be really good at school and really, like, thoroughly does everything. She comes off as immature and selfish for a large part of the book. So she makes it hard to like, right? So it takes quite a long time. It took me quite a long time to get to know Prudence and really enjoy her character. Reading about her, I thought maybe she's just meant to be one of those characters. They both come off with like a superiority complex that I don't particularly like. Like, they're just woe is me kind of people. They're not woe is me. That has nothing to do with that. But they just have a complex that they're just better. And I don't enjoy that very much about this book. And I think that's why I got knocked down as like a YA contemporary. So there was some issues and some non-issues. Like, it was a really good book. It was a good storytelling. I liked everything that went on between them and the oceans. It's just one character was pretty unlikable, and I didn't get the karma part of the book, and it was just completely different from her normal writing. I still enjoyed the book overall. Like, I didn't hate the book by any means, but just was not what I expected. Next one was The Return by Nicholas Sparks. This one is a take it or leave it. I'll put it right there. Some Nicholas Sparks books I've read recently that are his newer reads, I really enjoyed. And this one I did not. This was one of the most boring books I have read in a while. One of the more boring Nicholas Sparks read. I've read a few Nicholas Sparks books I just didn't love. That's where this one landed. This is about a guy who is a naval doctor named Trump, and he runs into this young girl named Callie, and then there's also a girl named Natalie, who like catches him in this house moving around, and Natalie comes in to check in on him because she's like a copper trooper, and say like, hey, what are you doing here? And he says, well, this is my grandfather's place. But he also met Callie there. There's a bit of a mystery to Callie. She looks very, very young. She works in the store. I did not get the Callie storyline. There is this huge mystery behind Callie. There's a huge mystery behind Natalie and why Natalie acts the way she does towards him, where she's hot and then she's cold. I didn't get the point of hiding the mysteries in the book. Either one, I thought the Callie story took away from the romance story between Natalie and Trevor. I thought Trevor was an incredibly boring person to listen to, his minds and his thoughts. He was a Navy doctor who decided to become a psychiatrist, and he was just taking a leave of absence because he had a lot of issues to work through before he entered like a psychiatry program. So to me, he just didn't come off very dynamic, and I didn't love him, and I thought he was very boring, and he was the main person you were listening to. And then there was a mystery behind Natalie that was not much of a mystery, and then there was a mystery behind Callie, and I didn't know why she was in the story. So the whole book just didn't hit it for me at all. It wasn't horrible, but it was like a high 2 maybe. I don't know. It just wasn't that good. Number 3 was Today, Tonight, and Tomorrow by Rachel Lynn Sonam, and this came out, I think, last summer. So this one is about Neil and Rowan, and this is a YA book about coming of age story, and they're working through like the scavenger hunt, which should be like kind of fun premise setup, right? With these two people working together. And they were always combative because they were always at the top. They didn't hate each other. I wouldn't say they say they did, but I wouldn't say that. It's just they were very, very competitive towards each other. And so they get to know each other on this end of the year scavenger hunt, and they end up really enjoying it. As far as the scavenger hunt, I don't know, I think you could have made it more adventurous. It was just very plain Jane. It was like, that was the whole plot driven part of the story, and it just was a normal everyday scavenger hunt. It was not anything exciting or cool that added to the story, so I was wondering why it was part of the story. It was just an excuse to connect them instead of making it like a really cool and exciting part of the story. I thought that was like a little bit of a letdown, as well as I liked Rowan and I liked his Jewish heritage that was put into the book, but the book had so many other factors crammed into it that it was kind of like they could have just done like one of them and highlighted it. And by that I mean they had like sex positivity, they had veganism, what did they have? Gender equality in there. They had the Jewish heritage thing. They had like 2 or 3 other ones that are thrown in the book, but it's like if she would have picked 1 or 2 of those and really highlighted them, that would have been meant so much. It felt like they were just being shoved at you and not really meaningful in any way. So it could have been more meaningful, I felt. But the characters were really cute. I thought the storyline overall was really cute. It didn't hit it all the way off for me. And so yeah, let's move on to the next book, which was The Kiss Thief by L.J. Shen. Okay. So this one I heard as an author recommendation, and it was a pretty good writing. So I think I'm going to go on with something else from her. But it says that it's an arranged marriage novel, and that's exactly what it is. It's about this girl who's been brought up in this kind of like mob scenario, and she is brought up as to be precious, and this guy comes along and basically blackmails her father to marry her, and he is like trying to save her in his own way, and he wants to be mayor and then governor and then president. I think are what his general goals in life. So it is an arranged marriage in the present day. This girl lives a really sheltered, different life than most teenage girls are. But I just didn't believe the arranged marriage part of it. Like, I thought like the MCs, the main characters, had very good chemistry throughout the book. But there's not an instant I believed the love triangle, which was another big thing. Like, she was supposed to always been in love with this one guy and wanted to be with him, but the author never made me actually believe it. It was such a short little snippet at the beginning, and it was really brought up very small, but it was never significant enough that I believed the love triangle. I didn't really believe the main plot line that much of the marriage arrangement, so it just, it was a miss for me storyline wise, but I liked the characters enough, and I liked the writing style enough that I definitely want to read some other books by her that are a little, I guess, more what I like, Youre My Taste. So the next one was Had Me At Hola. I did a review on this. I'll put it up above, so I won't spend too much time on it, but it's by Alexis Daria. I said this was a really good travel read. Absolutely loved it because it was an easy book to dip in and dip out of. It was a telenovela romance. It was so cute. It was so glamorous. It was so telenovela. I loved it. Can't recommend it enough. So I read the last in the Brown Sisters Act Your Age, Eve Brown by Talia Hibbert. I am so glad I did the whole series. I loved them. They were a lot of fun. This one, I didn't love some things about it. I didn't love the male character in it. He seems very, very grumpy, and he's not like a lovable grumpy character. I did love that they were both on the autistic or on the spectrum, Asperger's spectrum. And so that was a unique twist to her storyline telling. And I liked, it was like Chloe Brown in the beginning, but there was like a lot of drama and a lot of impact and a lot of plotline driving, but the middle lagged for me on this one. So I didn't rate it as high as Chloe Brown, but I still really enjoyed it. And yeah, that's where I landed with Eve Brown. The next one was Bridgerton's number 2, The Viscount Who Loved Me by Julia Quinn. I thought this one was really cute, and it made me like the Duke and I Bridgerton series a lot more, and I can't wait for the second season. I really liked there was something about this story that I overall generally liked about the characters. Although I will say the oldest brother, the Viscount who this is about, seemed like a completely different guy than the first book. That's what I kept thinking during while I was reading. I'm like, he seems completely different. I did enjoy a large parts of this book, but I hate when books say you've got to marry me because of so-and-so. The Duke and I was okay. It actually made me believe it, but this one, it was like a little too much. And I was like, I hate when people are just stuck in a situation. I just want them to be together because they want to be together. The other part of the storyline was, it was like this girl that was a bit intriguing because she was super overbearing of her sister. And her sister is supposed to be this beautiful woman who she thinks the Viscount is wanting to date. But at the same time, in the end, she ends up not being that person. So I feel like there was a bit of an inconsistency with that character. But as I said, I enjoyed this so much more better than The Duke and I decided to read the other stories in the Bridgerton, and I can't wait for season. The next one is The Rose Code by by Kate Quinn. I did a full review on this. I'm not going to set into this, but this is a book about 3 women who break codes during World War II. It's thrilling. It's exciting. If you liked Kate Quinn's other reads, The Alice Network and The Huntress, I highly recommend this one. Last but not least is Girl Gone Viral by Alisha Ray. I think this one came out during beginning of COVID last year. Not a good time to release a book, I don't think. But I didn't read it because I did not enjoy The Right Swipe at all. And then I kept hearing people who didn't enjoy it really enjoyed this one and the third one. So I went on and read the other 2. So this one was the first one, and I really did enjoy it. That's what made me read the third one in the series. But this one is a story about a girl and her bodyguard. So Katrina lives in a bit of an elusive life because she used to be in the popular, like very well known because of who she married and her wealth and who she was, like a model, but she was abused a lot and she has serious panic and anxiety issues. So she does not like to be in the limelight at all. And then her bodyguard, Joss, I think is how you say his name, also has serious issues. I loved the book as a whole. I liked it so much better. It read so much quicker. I believed the romance. It was a fun plot line. The only thing is the main heroine gets this huge kind of character arc development and is working through a large part of her traumatic past issues, but Joss doesn't get to work through his nearly as much, and that's where I think there was a little bit of a downfall in the book. I wish the male hero as well got to work through some of his issues because he also had a lot of traumatic backstory issues. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one. It was a completely different story. It was about them and kind of hitting the road, trying to go undercover for a little bit. And it was a believable story. It didn't seem super forced like the first one. And I just enjoyed these 2 characters a lot more. But that is all for my recent reads. Let me know down below if you kind of disagree or agree with any way I felt about some of these books. And I will see you guys in the next one. See you guys next time. Bye!